Coming up, the Virginia governor's race. Names are being purged from voter rolls and a former president is going on the campaign trail. We have the full report coming up. Then, Obama speaks out on the Affordable Care Act today. We'll tell what he had to say and an update on how the website is working for people applying for health care. District Wire News starts right now. Good evening, I'm Joni Agronin. Thousands of Virginia voters' names will not be allowed on the Virginia voter roll for the upcoming election for governor this November. Meanwhile, the Virginia Democratic Party is calling foul and considering legal action to reinstate the names. Isabella Diaz has the story.
Thanks, Joni. So we have two main candidates running for the position of governor for the Virginia elections coming up in this upcoming November. The Republican candidate is Ken Cuccinelli, and the Democratic candidate is Terry McAuliffe. Now there's an unexpected issue revolving around the campaign trail, but it has nothing to do with the candidates. Rather, it's with these purged voter names from the voter roll. And as of right now, there are approximately 38,000 names from the voter roll that have been eliminated, but that number could rise pending further review by the Virginia Election Board. The federal judge that initially threw out a Democratic Party review of these purges is continuing to look into the matter, but we're not quite sure yet if it's an issue of unjust disenfranchisement or voter fraud. 38,000 purged voters. This is the hot topic in this year's gubernatorial elections in Virginia. A federal judge denied the Virginia Democratic Party's request to add the names back to the voter roll. The Virginia Board of Elections decided to purge the names after an anti-voter fraud program, commonly known as cross-checked, flagged more than 300,000 suspicious names.
What's the motivation? What's the reason behind this? Is it just to clean up the voter rolls, to make sure that they're tighter, that people who have moved out of the state, are off this particular state's voter rolls? If that's the motivation, then you can't say that people want to disenfranchise others. But we've seen enough evidence over the years that those motivations aren't so pure.
Typically, when voters are tossed off the rolls, minorities and Democrats are hit harder than Republicans and those in the majority.
The very fact that some people might not be able to vote or their votes might be counted provisionally, shame on them.
It is unclear here, though, whether Republican candidate Ken Cuccinelli or Democratic candidate Terry McAuliffe stand to win or lose from the purged names. The Virginia gubernatorial elections will take place on November 5th. So it is unclear at the moment whether or not the Democratic Party in Virginia will pursue further legal action against the election board in court. However, an attorney from the McAuliffe campaign did say, though, that the party is considering an appeal to the judge's previous decision. Now back to Joni at the desk.
Thanks, Isabella. The healthcare website might be frustrating for many, but President Obama assures America it will get fixed. In an address from the White House this morning, Obama said they have added more call centers for people to apply over the phone. He also said they are doing everything possible to make the site better. Obama did encourage America to focus on the positives of the healthcare exchange.
But I just want to remind everybody, we did not wage this long and contentious battle just around a website. That's not what this was about.
The Affordable Care Act.
He guaranteed everyone who wants insurance through the healthcare exchange will get it no matter what. The debate over Obamacare continues today with the failure of the healthcare.gov website meant to make it easy for Americans to sign up for healthcare. President Obama addressed the country today to assure Americans he is confident the government will fix the problem soon. Sarah Weber has more.
Problems with the new healthcare.gov website have existed since it opened 3 weeks ago.
Two things. They got the coding wrong and they got the structure wrong. Those two things together make a mess.
These problems include the inability for some to log on the site and also issues purchasing insurance for those who are able to fill out an application. The glitches in the design and programming of the site have frustrated many Americans.
I think it's a basic website design problem. If you look at the website design for something like Amazon.com, the first thing they give you when you get onto the site is the product. and you get to browse the product and look through everything. And then when you're all done, that's when they ask for your verification and all that. Healthcare.gov is exactly backwards. On top of that, the coding issues on the verification are such that it's requiring 10 times as much data as normal just to verify who you are.
Because the site has so many glitches, the government has postponed the launch of the Spanish language version indefinitely. This has caused distress among Spanish-speaking Americans.
I think one of the most difficult parts about that is a lot of times they come from bilingual families where the younger children can speak English, and so because of that, a lot of times it's putting undue pressure on 10-year-olds to try to translate a document with healthcare terms that I wouldn't even be able to know in English.
President Obama says he has the best and brightest working on solving these problems and hopes that healthcare.gov will be fixed in the coming days. For District Wire News, I'm Sarah Weber.
Same-sex couples in New Jersey can now get married. The state Supreme Court ruled on Friday the state must start granting marriage licenses despite an appeal from Governor Chris Christie. The court said not granting the licenses would contradict the federal Supreme Court ruling on the Defense of Marriage Act this summer. Chris Christie withdrew his appeal of the same-sex marriage ruling earlier this morning. The National Security Agency is causing international drama again. A report in French newspaper Le Monde reported that the NSA has been collecting more than 70 million French telephone records as a part of their secret surveillance program. The operation has also been collecting text messages with specific keywords. The French government brought in the U.S. ambassador earlier this morning for an explanation and a guarantee the spying has stopped. Americans are learning about former Vice President Dick Cheney's heart concerns during his time in office while he promotes his new book. Cheney suffers from numerous heart complications and had an electrical device called a defibrillator implanted near his heart. The device can detect irregular heartbeats and control them with electric shocks. Cheney expressed concerns that because the device could be controlled remotely, terrorists could gain access to the remote and send fatal shocks to his heart. Because of the threat, Cheney and his doctor turned off the device's wireless function in 2007. Law enforcement officials in India are investigating the deaths of 42 people who they believe drank poisonous alcohol earlier this weekend. Homemade alcohol is popular in India and often consumed by people living in poverty. Chemicals are often added to make the alcohol stronger, but can lead to vomiting fits and death. Dozens of people are recovering in the hospital, but medical officials say more people may die. A new initiative is trying to fully legalize marijuana in the District of Columbia. The DCMJ 2014 unveiled a new draft of the marijuana decriminalization bill on Saturday, asking for a full legalization of marijuana in D.C. If the bill passes, it would be legal for people over 21 to possess, purchase, and transport the drug if it's under 2 ounces. The original initiative proposed to change the consequence for possessing an ounce of marijuana from 6 months prison sentence to a $100 fine. 3 teens are being charged after they were caught stealing ammunition belonging to the U.S. Air Marshals. The teens were found by police just after 2 a.m. on Sunday with 70 boxes of law enforcement ammunition in plain view. After a further search of the car, police officers also found bolt cutters, flashlights, gloves, and several car parts. The government may be back open, but Americans are still feeling the effects of the shutdown. Workers who were furloughed are now getting their money back for the time missed. Taryn Stansbury has the story.
The shutdown may not have been great for tourists in the nation's capital, but furloughed workers will get some good news when the government reopens. The House and Senate voted to guarantee back pay for almost 1 million federal employees who were furloughed during the shutdown.
It's certainly an enormous relief to those folks who are just public civil servants who want to serve their country.
Most of Senator McCaskill's office was furloughed during the shutdown. All 435 members of the Republican-controlled House voted to back pay furloughed workers last week. Hedger says it's hard not to see it along political lines, though.
House Republicans, they've done the right thing, and we're thrilled that this is occurring. But they're probably trying to let some of the air out, some of the sting out, of their own decision to shut down the government.
The Senate's agreement to reopen the government included back pay for furloughed workers. Although this was a bipartisan agreement, the government's purse strings are still tight.
$50 million a day in federal employee pay for people who aren't at work serving their country, doing the business of the American people. That's not a good way to run government, to pay people who aren't at the same time allowed to do their work.
But on the other hand, many of the furloughed workers can agree.
It's nice to nice to get paid vacation.
For District Wire News, I'm Taryn Stansbury.
The shutdown is over, which means the Panda Cam is back on. But what happened at the National Zoo while visitors were away? 2 of the zoo's beloved animals, a tortoise and a wrinkled hornbill, died. The tortoise, named Sable, was brought to the zoo in 1966 and was over 100 years old when he died of an upper respiratory infection. During the shutdown, the zoo is still awaiting more details about the death of the hornbill. Coming up, after the break, a lottery ticket left unclaimed in Alexandria. Find out what will happen to 100,000 lottery dollars if no one claims it. And Dolls in the Library. We'll show how they are encouraging kids to read. Stay with us.